Why would you want your wife to expose herself? Do you know who your wife is? Your wife is the daughter of the Most High God. Your wife is a princess. Why would you want her to do that? And this is what I usually tell wives also. When your husband wants you to dress indecently, also ask them, why don't you two dress indecently? They will not dress indecently, but they will want their wives to dress indecently. Why am I saying this? If you allow anyone to deceive you in marriage, that same person that has deceived you in marriage can give his or her life to Christ tomorrow. And when that person gives his or her life to Christ tomorrow, they will make heaven. And meanwhile, you are long gone. You don't have the opportunity again to make peace with God. I don't want you to do that. Be careful in your marriage. A lot of people today, hello everyone, and welcome back to Transforming Marriages with Uju Onwuzulike. I am thrilled to be your host today. I want to ask you a very important question. Have you ever thought about what the greatest gift you can give to your spouse is? Years back, I started thinking about that. I started asking myself, what is that greatest gift I can give to my spouse? And something came to my mind. And when that thing came to my mind, I started working on the gift. So I'm here today to also ask you a similar question. What do you think is the greatest gift you can give to your spouse? Let me focus more on husbands. You are a husband. What do you think is the greatest gift you can give to your wife? And when I'm talking about the husbands also, I know the wives too should be pondering on this question as well. The greatest gift you can give to your wife is something that should be timeless, priceless, borderless, and transcendent. The greatest gift you can give to her is something that should be everlasting. The greatest gift you can give to your wife, it's not just getting her a private jet. I know if you buy your wife a private jet, you have made her there. She'll literally be worshiping you. And that is a great gift to give to your wife or to get for your wife. But that is not the greatest gift you can get your wife. So if you decide to get your wife a beautiful apartment, a lovely apartment, luxurious apartment, somewhere, let's say in Hollywood Boulevard or Sunset Boulevard, because I know that the houses there are something else. I was there in 2010. And when I saw the houses there, I said to myself, oh my God, this is something else. But even if you get your wife or you get your spouse an apartment there, would that mean you've gotten them the greatest gift in the world? No, you have not still gotten them the greatest gift. Would that greatest gift be when you buy them the most expensive designer label? Would that mean that you've given them this greatest gift? No, you have not. So the question is, what would then be this greatest gift that you can give to your spouse? And I'm here to tell you that whatever gift you want to give to your spouse, if your spouse works hard enough, they will be able to give themselves such a gift. For example, if you want to buy a first class ticket for your wife, for example, if your wife works very hard, she can get that for herself. So I'm trying to say that there are no gifts that you can give to your spouse that your spouse might not be able to give to him or herself if they work hard. Of course, I know it's not everybody that can give themselves such luxurious gifts. But of course, I also know that a lot of women, a lot of men, if they work hard, they should be able to give themselves such gifts. So what am I trying to say? I am trying to say that regardless of the gift you give to your spouse, they can still get those gifts by themselves. And I'm not saying it's wrong to give them luxurious gifts or to give them state of the art gifts. But I'm still asking, what do you think is the greatest gift you can give to your spouse? The greatest gift you can give to your spouse. I am yet to see a lot of men giving that to their wives. I am yet to see a lot of wives giving that to their husbands. The greatest gift you can give to your wife is what I want to call the gift of eternity, the gift of heaven. The greatest gift you can give to your wife is to help them to run this race, to help them to love God, to help them to delight themselves in the Lord, to help them to serve God, to make the atmosphere conducive for them to serve God in your home. That is the greatest gift you can give to your wife. When you are married, when you have a wife and you are not giving her this greatest gift, you are doing her a great disservice. Do you know that the marriage we are having today will cease in this world? So if you read a place like Matthew 22, verse 30, God was very specific in letting us know that marriage will only end in this world. So the question I usually ask myself is this: how will I tell my wife that I love her? How will I express my love to my wife? And I would not help her to make heaven. Would you know what that means? When you don't support your wife or your husband to work hard to make heaven, when you don't support them to love God, when you don't support them to worship God in truth and in spirit, when you as the husband, you are not showing spiritual leadership, you are not leading your family aright in the way of the Lord. You are the man, you are the husband, so that your wife will be the one to push you to pray. Your wife will be the one to remind you to pray. You are not doing a good job. You are doing a disservice to your family. So the greatest gift you can give to her is the gift of heaven. Would you imagine seeing your wife or seeing your husband spending their eternity in hellfire? How would you feel? Have you thought about that? How will you say you love your wife, you buy her things you want to buy for her, you take her for vacation, you get her first class ticket, you buy her anything she wants, you provide for her, you put her in the best house, you do virtually everything for her that she needs to make her happy, to make her comfortable. But you've not asked yourself, am I making my wife comfortable to a point that she'll be able to make heaven? Have I sealed, have I finalized her eternity, her comfortability in eternity? Have I finalized that? How would you feel? That woman you love, that woman you always look after, that woman you always take care of her, that woman you wouldn't want even a fly to fly past her skin. How would you now feel when she ends up in hellfire? All because as a husband, you're not playing your part well, or because as a husband, you're not showing spiritual leadership, or because as a husband, you are very lazy and prayerless, or because as a husband, you don't wake your wife up at night and say to her, my lovely wife, it's time to read our Bible, it's time to pray. All because you're not showing spiritual direction to your wife. How will you do that? How would you allow your wife, your lovely wife, your wife you can spend your last dime for, how would you allow her to rot in hellfire? And this fire I'm talking about is not something for one day. It's not something for 6 months. It's not something for 1 year. How would you allow her to end up in hell? How would you steal the gift of eternity from her? Why wouldn't you give her this gift? I am not saying it's wrong to give your wife gifts or to give your husband gifts. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying in giving them this gift, also know that there is a priceless and timeless gift, transcendent gift that you need to give to them. In giving them the all other gifts that you give to them, also make sure that you give them this gift of heaven. And what will you do that will show that you are ready to give them this gift of heaven? Be intentional in leading your family to Christ. Be intentional in helping your wife to love God. Make out time to study the word of God with your wife, and don't just do it periodically. Make out time to study the word of God with your wife. Don't do it periodically. Do it all the time. The way you are serious with your businesses, the money making ventures, I also want you to be serious in that manner, to make sure that you help your wife to build her relationship with God. So I expect you, the husband, to make out time for prayers. Pray in the morning and pray at night. Read the Bible with her in the morning. Read the Bible with her at night. It's something that you can achieve. It's something that is achievable. Don't say you don't have time. You have time to do that. It is just that it hasn't been your priority. You only do the things that are priority for you, and you make out time for those things that are priority for you. So I want you to make out time and have time where you study the word with your wife, where you pray with her, where you fast with her, where you will help her to make heaven. I want you to give her this gift of heaven. There's no other gift that you can give to her, that if she works hard, that she will not be able to get for herself. But the gift that you can give to her that will stand the test of time, this gift that you give to her that's priceless, timeless, transcendent, and everlasting, is the gift of heaven, is the gift of eternity. And I want you to give that to your husband. I want you to give that to your wife. And I want to advise you, the wife, I want to advise you, don't say because you are married, you won't take God serious again. Don't do that. I usually tell this to married people: if you are a woman, don't compromise, don't lose respect for God. Don't move away from God all because you are married. God didn't offend you by making you to be married. Don't use your marriage to move yourself away from God. Stop compromising. Yes, you are to respect your husband. The Bible has said that. And I support that too. In respecting your husband, in honoring your husband, you should also know that number one person you will honor the most is God. In honoring your husband, you should also know that you have to honor God the most. And this is one thing that a lot of married women do not know. They do not know that if they honor God in their marriage, it will be easy for them to honor their husbands too. So don't go committing sins all because you want to please your husband. I remember a discussion I had with a woman years back, somewhere in Oniru area of Lagos. I went to buy something because she used to be my customer. So I went to buy something and I saw her on that day. What she was putting really put me off. It was not something I expect a married woman to put on. So because she is my friend and we started discussing, so I now asked her, Madam, I've not seen you dressing like this before. And she said something that got me worried. Not only got me thinking, it got me worried. She said, my husband likes it. I wore this clothes to please my husband. And I'm saying this to you, husband. Stop deceiving your wife. Stop misleading your wife. Stop putting your wife into sins. Stop getting them to sin against God. If you know the things they are not supposed to wear, don't encourage them to wear it, all because they want to please you. Who are you that they will please? Are they supposed to please you, or they are supposed to please God? And when you ask a lot of married women today, why are you dressing indecently? The first thing they will tell you is, my husband loves it. And in my mind, I'll be saying, what are you talking about? So even if you go naked tomorrow, and because your husband likes it, are you saying you will continue to go naked? Or because you want to please your husband? And I'm here to say that no sensible husband will behave in that manner. No sensible, godly husband will want the wife to dress indecently. I know that no sensible husband will want the wife to dress indecently, all because they want their wives to please them. You wouldn't do that. Stop pleasing your husband to sin. Stop sinning or to please your husband. It is not the right thing to do. And let me tell you the danger here. When you sin against God to please your husband, when something happens to you, God forbid, and you are long gone, that your husband that you were pleasing, and as a result of pleasing him, you displease God. That your husband can repent tomorrow. And when he repents tomorrow, he'll begin to love God. And when he repents and asks God for forgiveness, God will forgive him. And when he dies too, he's going to make heaven. But he has misled you. Or will I say you misled yourself because you are an adult? Hey, can someone ask you to dress indecently and you're dressing indecently all because you want to please your husband? Don't do that. Even in weddings today, you will see wives dressing almost naked, all because they want to please their husbands. And these husbands that they want to please, they are looking well dressed, very suited up, but their wives will almost be naked. And when you ask their wives, why are you dressing in that manner? They will say to you, I want to please my husband. Why would you want your wife to expose herself? Do you know who your wife is? Your wife is the daughter of the Most High God. Your wife is a princess. Why would you want her to do that? And this is what I usually tell wives also. When your husband wants you to dress indecently, also ask them, why don't you two dress indecently? They will not dress indecently, but they will want their wives to dress indecently. Why am I saying this? If you allow anyone to deceive you in marriage, that same person that has deceived you in marriage can give his or her life to Christ tomorrow. And when that person gives his or her life to Christ tomorrow, they will make heaven. And meanwhile, you are long gone. You don't have the opportunity again to make peace with God. I don't want you to do that. Be careful in your marriage. A lot of people today will miss heaven all because they married a wrong person. A lot of people will miss heaven today all because they are in marriage, all because they are doing things to please their spouses. Don't do that. Don't sin against God all because you want to please your spouses. Don't do that. I remember in my university days, I remember one young man I was talking to in those days. He was a court member. I was advising this young man to come out from being a court member, but he did not listen to me. He got enmeshed the more in court activities, and a week after I had spoken to him, he was killed. Do you know the interesting thing? That young man is rotting in hellfire now. But those his friends, those his fellow court members, a lot of them might have repented today. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of court members today that are pastors. They are pastors today. And meanwhile, they have misled, or will I say they have misled their members that used to be court members that were killed. Those people will be rotting in hellfire. But these people have now repented. They are no more court members. So don't join your friends to do what is evil. Don't join your husband, your wife to do what is evil. Don't do that because you can't afford to miss heaven, because your marriage ends in this world. And because it ends in this world, have you said to yourself, how will I see my wife again in heaven? How will I see my husband again in heaven? Would you want to be in heaven alone without your wife? Would you want to be in heaven alone without your husband? Is that your goal? If that is your goal, it means you are a wicked spouse. If you want to spend eternity alone without your wife, without your husband, it means you are a wicked spouse and don't want to do that. It means you are a wicked spouse, and I don't want you to do that. The best gift you can give to your husband now is to encourage them to know God, to encourage them to walk in holiness, to encourage them to walk in righteousness, so that when they die, they will make heaven. Encourage your wife too to do the same thing, so that when it is your time to be in heaven, two of you will spend your eternity with God. Don't push your wife away so that she will not end up spending eternity in hellfire. Don't push your husband away so that he will not end up spending his time in hellfire. Encourage them. Build an environment that will support them to worship God more. But I'm saying this to husbands today. Be the head of your home spiritually. Be the spiritual director of your home. Show spiritual leadership. Be the one to lead prayers. Be the one to lead Bible study. Be the one to tell your family it's time to go to church. Be the one that will lead the spiritual direction of your home. Don't leave it to your wife. Don't leave it to your children. Be the man who will help the family to make heaven. So in this video today, I am encouraging you to begin to give your wife, begin to give your husband this timeless gift, this precious gift, this borderless gift, this gift that will transcend tomorrow, this gift that is everlasting, this gift that will enable them to spend eternity with God. How beautiful do you think it will be when you see your wife in heaven? How beautiful do you think it will be when you see your husband in heaven? How beautiful do you think it will be when husband and wife will see themselves in heaven? That will be the most beautiful thing. And that will be the greatest gift you will give to your spouse. I want you to please subscribe to this channel, like and comment, and also share this with others so that they too will be able to begin to give their spouse this greatest gift that they will need to give to their spouse. Till I see you next, keep supporting your spouses to be the best version of themselves and not the other way around. Enjoy the journey of your marriage.